Without getting into too much detail on the shoe, you would already be all over these Air Jordan 1 Low Spades, but then when you get closer and closer and closer to this thing, it's like, man alive, the detailing on this is incredible, and especially on top of that, it's about placement today, because something special is going on, especially on the lateral side. You can see there's the placement of different panels has a unique feel to it that I've never seen before. Now, I'm sure it's probably happened before, but not in this way, not in this kind of quality. And I'm looking forward to bringing that to you today and looking at the way that slides together. It's all about sliding down the lateral side, something going on in there. But then on top of that, the quality is out of this world, and even the story of the shoe is incredible. Somehow they've managed to fit a 4-layered tongue branding thing going on up there as well. So there's a ton to talk about in one of the cleanest shoes we've seen on the season. So let's get into this and talk about the upcoming release of the Nike Air Jordan 1 Low Spades. This is the Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Bara 23 Sneaker Channel です。毎日アップするので毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring in content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today in the spotlight, we have a Nike Air Jordan 1 Low, and I'm shooting this video on Saturday, May the 14th. I think it's the 14th today. And today on the Sneakers Now app, we had the Nike Air Jordan 1 High Shadow 2.0, a beautiful shoe, which unfortunately for me was a massive L. But I was seriously looking at those guys as being a shoe that I wanted to get my hands on. Very, very nice. But it slipped by me, as so often happens on the Sneakers app these days. I don't think there's that many people out there who are carding W's these days with the big shoes. Of course, there are other shoes on the Sneakers app, but let's face it, it's the things like the Jordan 1 Highs that we're looking to get our hands on, and the Jordan 1 Lows. Now, I haven't seen these guys on the Sneakers app, even though they're scheduled to drop on May the 27th. I said today's May the 14th, so that makes that 13 days in the future, but you guys are watching this at the earliest on, I guess, maybe the 17th, because that's when it'll go up onto YouTube. So we're 10 days ahead of the drop date, and I haven't seen these guys in the Sneaker app yet here in Tokyo, Japan, but that doesn't mean to say they haven't reached a Sneaker app somewhere out there in the world, Europe or the US, North American, places like that. So if they have hit the Sneakers app, please let me know, because I am very interested in getting my hands on these shoes, not only for the way they look, because they are a great looking shoe. If you took away all of the detailing and the sort of story of the Spades and just went with this as a colorway and nothing else, it would still be a very cool Air Jordan 1 Low. But then on top of that, you've got some of the greatest quality control I've seen in a sneaker in a very, very long time, with a clean story that runs front to back throughout the whole shoe. It's a really nice shoe, and we're going to get into it right now and talk about everything that I want to on that, and especially that line that I'm talking about. There's a slide down the lateral side that I'm most interested in, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it in the future too, that I don't like to hold the sort of point till the end. Like, if there's something specific I want to get to in a video, I like to do it at the start and not actually sort of fish you guys on for like minutes and minutes and minutes saying, oh, I'm going to get to the big bit in a bit. The big bit for me on this shoe is probably something that most people aren't really paying that much attention to, but when you really look at it, it actually comes out as one of the cleanest hits on the shoe. And like I said, I haven't seen it this clean on any other shoes before. And what I'm talking about is the main material highlight on this shoe. There's other branding highlights and stuff like that on there as well, but the material point is all about that toe box overlay and the midfoot panel, where you've got some awesome texture going on in the materials on there. And hopefully I'm finding a way to zoom in on this here. We'll start with that materials, but it's not the materials that's the big point to me, it's the way they connect together. So I want you to know in detail what I'm talking about. I want you to get really close up to this piece of the shoe and really understand the quality that's in there. There's a 3D textured effect in there, and there's a double layered color effect in there. And what I'm talking about is the lower layer is in red, and then the higher sort of 3D prominent parts of that material coming out are actually in black, but because there's fewer, I think, fewer hits of black on there, it seems more red than black. But once you actually get zoomed in on the guy, then you see it this close up, you're able to see the detail that I'm talking about. So from an actual quality control or materials or texture point of view, this is already a very cool element of the shoe. But back out a bit further from that, if we've already been zoomed in looking at the actual materials, I want to look at the placement, and this is my main feature on these shoes, because what usually happens with Air Jordan 1s and Dunks is that they usually, often, sometimes have a line that runs the front, the whole length of the shoe. And what we're talking about is the toe box overlay, the quarter line, up the laces and then down the ankle and into the heel. That line that runs the length of the shoe is very often in one color or one texture or one feature, and it's unusual to see it broken in this way. They do sometimes do it in different ways where, for example, the toe box overlay and the quarter line will be in one colour and the laces and the ankle will be in another colour, for example. But the interesting thing to me isn't actually that line. It's where that line stops and something else starts. So what I'm talking about is on the toe box overlay, you see this beautiful material that I'm talking about. But if we zoom in on the quarter line, there's a really neat way that it looks like it connects the toe box overlay to that mid-foot panel. Not just in the materials, but like lined up. You know what I mean? Like it's like they're, realistically, if you took away the quarter line, if you could peel that off, it looks like one unit of material behind it. So hopefully I've been able to zoom in on it here and you can see the very last corner edge of the toe box is quite a wide hit of that material. Then there's the quarter line and then that material continues on into the midfoot. And it's that connection that I think is the really big talking point on this shoe, because usually what you'd see is that material running up the quarter line across the laces and down the ankle, and then the midfoot panel would be in a different color. In the case of these guys, most likely white. So have a really good look at it. Think about the structure of the toe box and the way the overlay is in that beautiful material, and then the panels in white, and that's what you'd normally see around the midfoot, the panel in white and then the outside edges in that beautiful material, the overlay. But they've inverted that. They've flipped it and gone the other way, and they've done it in such a way that it looks like the toe box overlay connects right into the midfoot panel, and it's absolutely clean. It's a really neat feature on the shoe, and something I'm not entirely sure people are really catching, but once you actually see it, you can't stop seeing it, and you can't stop seeing how the toe box overlay looks like it's the same panel as the midfoot panel. I think that's a very neat feature. And speaking of the midfoot panel, we might as well just come out a couple of millimeters forward from that and get into these beautiful swooshes on the side of these guys. It's almost a pale kind of pastel gold to go with that spades theme on the shoe. And the important part, I think there's two important parts of the swooshes. One is that they're connected to that quarter line where you see, in the case of this picture here, I think it's a K for king because it's to do with the spades, you know, the king of spades, the queen of spades playing cards, and the K there in the same color embroidered on the quarter line as the swoosh. But then on the right shoe, because we're looking at the left shoe right now, on the right shoe in the same place, instead of having a K, it's a Q, and that's one of my favorite things in sneakers, is when they take the time to have different features on the left and the right shoes, because it, machinery-wise, factory-wise, production-wise, having identical shoes left and right, they just churn them out with the same sort of logistics and the same sort of production parameters. But then when you change a little detail like this, a Q to a K, they have to redo everything to get that all lined up, and it costs them a lot more money, but it means we know that they've taken a little bit more interest in the shoe, so that's a good thing about these guys. And then I was talking about the swoosh and how there's 2 points to it. One is that the K and the Q branding on the quarter line matches the swoosh in colour, and then the other is, as we go around to the heels, you can see the way the swooshes wrap around to the heels is really quality. These are really nice shoes, and that gold and white effect sort of accented with a little bit of red in there as well is absolutely beautiful on these guys. And then right below that, on that white heel cup, you've got the red wings logo, and it finishes off the back end of the shoe in style. Very classy take on the Air Jordan 1 lows. But the final place to go, which is actually I think one of the coolest places on the shoe, is the tongue branding. I talked about that earlier in the video, that it's got a kind of layered effect to it, and what we're talking about is I think it's a white Jumpman on a gold branding. In fact, it's a white Jumpman on a gold spade, like from the playing card spades, on a red branding panel on a white tongue, which is insane amount of layering going on up there. Hopefully I've got the order of the colours right in the right description. Even if I haven't though, you can see it on the green screen, so you know what I'm talking about. But it's a very cool take on the tongue branding panel on an Air Jordan 1 low. And then we push back from that into the insoles, and I was a little bit disappointed. So simple, white Jumpman, red insole, but the white Jumpman on the insoles heels there matches the white Jumpman on the tongue, so I'm kind of like, okay, I'll let you off with it this time, but it is a little bit simple on the inside of these guys. And then we flip that all out and have a look at the outside of these guys, and you see on the outsole that is a beautiful popping cherry red outsole of the highest quality. So it's a great finish to the shoe to take us all the way back out to the lateral side. Hopefully I'm showing you guys this shoe, and you've got all of that story that I just did to you. In fact, not the lateral side, probably the pair, so you can see the pair because it gives you the angle to look onto the tongues as well, which is one of the main features of the shoe. And altogether it's just a great looking shoe, but that line, the way the line from the toe box overlay goes behind the quarter line and then into the midfoot is a really unique line to me, and I think it's a really classy take on these shoes. So it's a great shoe. Everything about it says very yes to me. Looking from far away, great looking shoe, and the closer you get into them, the cooler they get. So it's a very big yes from me from the Nike Air Jordan 1 Low Spades. And with that being said, it's time to wrap up this video and just do the last thing that I have to do at the end of every single video, which is thank you guys out there for checking out the content. I do truly appreciate you guys sticking with the channel. We must be getting close to the 900th consecutive day, and that means soon the next milestone will be 1,000 consecutive days on YouTube, which is an amazing feat, and I'm looking forward to completing it, fingers crossed, with your help out there. And with that being said, it's time to just wrap this one up. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll say what I say at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.